And for more on this, we are now being joined by William Courtney, who is a senior fellow at the Iran Global Think Tank. William, welcome to the program. President Putin says Russia is not deploying, but just placing the nuclear weapons in Belarus or to an allied country. Why is the West so skeptical and worried about this move?
The context in which President Putin, since 2018 especially, has been escalating nuclear rhetoric, nuclear threats. Not even the late Soviet leaders did that kind of thing. So in 2018, for example, he showed a video of a nuclear-powered cruise missile hitting the state of Florida. This kind of thing is really not a very mature way to deal with nuclear weapons. So I think it's the context that is important as well.
William, NATO has slammed Russia over what it calls nuclear rhetoric, which has also termed as irresponsible. What do you make of NATO's reaction and its role so far?
Well, this is an understandable reaction, given how President Putin has talked about nuclear weapons and former President Dmitry Medvedev as well. So it's really important that with regard to nuclear weapons, because they are especially destructive, that leaders of countries deal very carefully with them. And so people in the West have been surprised how Putin has used nuclear rhetoric. This probably, from the Kremlin standpoint, this is probably an effort to cover up weaknesses on the battlefield because Russian troops have done so poorly in Ukraine. So this may be one way to try to scare the Europeans and the Ukrainians as far as Putin is concerned. But so far it hasn't had any real impact. The Ukrainians are fighting hard. The Europeans and Americans are giving full support to Ukraine.
William, there's this narrative that is going around about nuclear threat. Do you think there's going to be an impact on that, or what does this mean at this moment?
Well, I think the prospect of Russia escalating to use nuclear weapons is quite low, very, very low. The Russians, though, have to find a way in Ukraine to pull their troops out if they want to have the Western sanctions eliminated, for example. And thus far, the Russians can't seem to win in Ukraine, but they haven't pulled out either. So it's kind of the worst of both worlds for Russia.
William, finally, there are concerns in the Baltic nations, which include Latvia, Poland, and Lithuania. What impact or threats does the latest development pose to them?
Well, of course, having nuclear weapons put into Belarus can be an additional factor causing some fear. But the Baltics, Poland, other countries there will understand that the Russians will not have dual key arrangements with the Belarusians. What NATO has in Europe are dual key arrangements. So the local country where nuclear weapons are stationed and the United States both have to make a decision to launch a nuclear weapon. Russia will control all those itself, but there will be concerns in that area of Poland, the Baltics, other places, that it is possible that oppositionists or terrorists or others could find some way to disrupt the security arrangements for nuclear weapons. And so I think that would be a special concern.
William Courtney, Senior Fellow at the Iran Global Think Tank, thank you very much for talking to WION World is One.
You're welcome.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.